And so what I'm going to argue is that we need to be really focusing on three things right now. The first is we need to figure out what works at the local scale. We've got all these threats that are playing out locally. What do local management systems look like that are effective over time? How do they work? How do they get to outcomes on the reef? The second point I'm going to make is that we need to figure out how these local successes can be leveraged to bigger and bigger successes around the world. And the last point I want to make is that if we use our scientific understanding, we can do a whole lot better than if we're just groping around in the dark. By understanding something about how the reefs work, we can make much better decisions about how to conserve and manage them. So first, the local scale. Most coral reef conservation is going to happen at this scale. This is in Fiji. This is a village in the Kumbalau district of Fiji. And this community has essentially ownership over a whole set of reefs. If you've been to Fiji before, perhaps you've been diving in the Namena Marine Reserve. This community is an owner of the Namena Reef. It's a different way of thinking about marine resources than we're used to in a Western tradition. But this community, along with the other ones in Kumbalau, started noticing that the fishes that they had fished all their life were disappearing from that system. That's because people were coming in and fishing it from all over Fiji, and they decided they wanted to do something about it. They wanted to figure out whether there was anything they could do to protect that reef. And what they did is they actually struck a really interesting bargain. They said, listen, we'd like to take this big, beautiful reef, and we'd like to close it off to fishing, including for ourselves. And so we're no longer going to have access to a source of protein and a source of income that we've had for thousands of years. Instead, we're going to stop fishing there, and we're going to make everybody else stop fishing there too. But what's in it for us, other than knowing that we've done something good? Why would the people in the Kumbalau then not just go out there and fish it for themselves? The reason is they struck a bargain with the dive industry. And what they asked the dive industry to do is say, hey, listen, if you want to dive this reef, we'll agree not to fish it, and we'll agree to keep other people out of it. What we want you to do is we want you to pay a user fee. We want you to pay a fee to come and visit this special reef that's got all these fish on it. And what we're going to use that fee for is partly for managing the reef, but another part is for community projects. Projects like buying books for school children, projects like scholarships, projects that make the people in the community see a tangible benefit to making a change in their behavior to protect their reef.